Well, welcome back to Sunday Live. We're really happy to have in studio with us the World Bank Country Director, Diarietou Gaye, and we're talking how to end poverty in Kenya. Thank you for joining us. We're going to go in a moment into the competition that you've launched, but first, this pressing question. What is the World Bank doing about how, to ensure that we are ending poverty in Kenya?
Thank you very much first for this really great opportunity to come and visit you at Citizen. Let me tell you something. The bank has been one of those long-standing partners of Kenya. We've been here for many, many years, and we've been working in diverse areas. If I want to summarize a little bit how we are handling reducing poverty in Kenya and in the world, in fact, we just launched what we call a country partnership strategy. We did it in June. And that country partnership strategy tells you exactly how is it that we're helping the government reduce poverty.
What are the priority areas?
So we have three priority areas. One is promoting growth. And to do that, we think that infrastructure development, and I'm thinking of roads, thinking of rail, I'm thinking of airports, I'm thinking of water, energy. All those sectors are key to promoting growth. So this is the first pillar. The second pillar is around making sure that the people that do not have access to services do, and the poor are serviced. So this is where you want education to be a big element.
Healthcare.
You want healthcare. As you may recall, the President Kenyatta, when he came in power, had this element of having universal access to everybody to health services. And that's something that we are really willing to work with them. And maybe I should have started by saying, the bank doesn't have a program in itself for Kenya. The bank works with the government.
So it supports government programs.
So the Vision 2030 is basically our program. We go into that program and we slice parts of it, and that's what we support.
Right.
So growth.
Yes, access to services for people who...
Exactly,
yes.
And devolution.
Devolution.
So the whole environment around devolution, the capacity building, building institution to support this huge program that the government has embarked on, and also everything that has to do with service delivery, and service delivery again to the poor people.
Diarietou, what would you say to people who look at the World Bank and say, look, we don't have trust in this institution? Is the World Bank really focused on alleviating poverty? Is that really why it exists? What would you say? I
would say absolutely. And we have plenty of examples that we can show. Alleviating poverty or completely eliminating poverty is the main goal of the World Bank. I mean, it's what we state for, what we are living for. This is what we state very publicly. And I think our new president is very clear that his mandate is to eliminate poverty by the year 2030. So that's what we are trying to achieve. But we cannot do it alone. It's all about partnership. It's how we work with government to achieve that. But it's not a World Bank issue. It's something that we really have to work together.
I think that moves us into the whole idea of the competition, and the World Bank has launched a competition. Do you have something to say about how to end poverty in Kenya? If you do, write something, less than 500 words, not a lot of words, and you can share them. We'll have the details for you. We'll share them on the screen and on social media as well as to where you can send that. Why did you feel it was important to launch a competition asking people to share their views, and how can those views be used by the World Bank?
One of the things that people realize is that the World Bank has changed. A friend of mine I met today was telling me, that's going to be bizarre to see an African lady sitting and talking for the World Bank. We generally would have expected a male Caucasian. A
Muzungu male, as we would say. Yes.
So things are happening, and people need to understand that this is a new bank. This is a bank that wants to communicate. This is a bank that wants to share views, and this is a bank that wants to listen.
wants to listen, and
exactly.
that's why the call for views.
That's one is a call for view. That's one thing. The other thing is that clearly, and that's something that I felt when I came to Kenya, development media is very, very limited. What I've seen in the media is you know, this big line that everybody will rush and buy, but nothing that is, or very little that is building a nation.
Okay. So we don't focus enough, you're saying,
exactly.
on the development issues.
Exactly. So that's what I would like us to start. And this competition is the first one. We hope to be able to have many of them. What we really would like to do is have young people, and I insist on young, you know, from 18, I would define up to 35, but I think 18, 25 would be the real target that we're looking for.
But it's actually to 35, up to 35 years of age, 18 to 35, that can send in their views.
Exactly.
Right.
They can send in their view. We will look for originality. You know, we say 500 words, but you can define words the way you want. We would look for a storyline. I mean, you can just tell a story and use that story to say this is what should happen if we want to alleviate poverty. You can do small movies with stories around. Be original.
Okay.
And so that will be my number one.
I can tell you views are already coming in. I just want to tap into your thoughts
Sure.
as we discuss this. A lot of people talking about agriculture, farmers, you know, giving them more money for their produce or paying them a decent buck for their produce. A lot of people talking about savings and teaching people about savings. Lots of people referring to the youth as well. If I was to ask you, when you look at the landscape in Kenya, and if you were asked how would you end poverty in Kenya, what would your first steps be?
I think I would do a little bit of all of what you said. I think agriculture is definitely where we have the most poor, but you have a lot of new poor in urban areas.
Right.
So you have to start building secondary cities. You need to get people to go back into their city and have a mean of living in those cities. So it's a complex issue. It's not something that you can say, you know, do agriculture or do water and you solve poverty. I think it's a combination of many things. And that's what we're trying to really do.
Our time is so short, so I want to take us back to the partnership with government before we close the interview. Please send your entries to the competition. I'll have the details on the email that you can use, and share your views on how to end poverty in Kenya. But moving on to the partnership between the World Bank and the Kenya government, how is that partnership working? A lot of people have said, you know, the challenge of national government and county governments has really, you know, created a barrier for growth moving as fast as it could. What's your experience been in terms of the partnership?
I think my experience has been totally different. I think this is a time for Kenya. Devolution is really the best thing that could have to happen to this country.
Wow, we don't hear that often anymore.
It is the best thing that can happen. It is not the easiest thing, though.
Okay. It's
very complex. People have a lot of ambition around it. People want results yesterday. It's going to take time. But I think that's the best thing that we have done. We're seeing changes already. I mean, you go to some counties, like in Turkana, they will tell you clearly they're seeing things happening for which they have to thank devolution. So we have a lot of things to do, including, you know, building capacity, building institutions, strengthening the coordination around on the county, strengthening the communication. But it's happening. And you know, people can talk about many things that are not working, but there are plenty of things that are working. And those we need to celebrate. We don't do it enough.
That is powerful. There are many things that are working. People can talk about what's not working, but there are many things working.
Many.
Thank you so much, Diarietou, for joining us.
I just wanted to add one little thing on what you get when you write your 500
Right, the prize. The prize.
The prize is, as you know, the bank is having its spring meeting in April in Washington, D.C.
This is the annual meeting?
Yes, with the spring meeting this time.
Okay.
We would like to bring the winner with us for a week in Washington, D.C. he or she will have the opportunity to interview the Vice President for the Africa region. We're also trying to get an interview with the President of the bank. We will also organize a one-day working in the Washington Post office, so for that young individual to have a chance to see how does it feel like to be a journalist.
Wow.
So we really encourage young journalists or aspiring journalists to really enter into that competition.
Thank you so much for that. So this is your opportunity to make your voice heard on how to end poverty in Kenya. But even more important than that, if you are a journalist or if you are a blogger for that matter, if you're interested in development matters, if you're focused on progression, this is a great opportunity for you. If you're a Kenyan and you're not a journalist, but you can write and you think you can win this, you never know where it could take you. If you have a pen and paper, share your views on how to end poverty in Kenya on the email. Send them to the email endpovertyinkenya @worldbank.org. It's that simple. We'll have more information for you on social media. Thank you, Diarietou, for making time.
Thank you very much.